commercial truck today has built-in stock. We're not able to underwrite the business at this time. Guys, if you haven't seen it, these enhancements to our products and systems you're going to, and I really think they're going to like where we're headed. Today's session is just an overview of what you will need to support the effort as we review the rollout, training timeline, product update, system overview, and resources to be successful. And so please be sure to complete the new rollout training. Make sure you don't forget that part. And you'll be notified when you've been automatically enrolled in it. So, hey, this is going to help you be prepared, like I said before, for the live e-conferences prior to the implementation, as well as to be better equipped to move forward in the commercial space. It's really a very good investment of time. And again, I want to thank you for taking the time. I know you have a busy schedule for being here today. And it's good to be with you. And Joel, I'll turn it back over to you.
Appreciate it, Tim. Yeah, appreciate all those words. We're going to get into a lot of different information today. So appreciate you kicking us off and it takes some time out of your day as well. So let's go ahead and get into today's session. Before we get into the agenda, we'll just talk a little bit about who you're hearing from. So aside from myself, joining me from agency training is Michael Harris. He's going to be kind of our producer for today's session. So if you do have any issues or questions going on in the background, also technical difficulties, you can reach out to Mike through my app. Also with us, Denver Kinder. Denver plays an important role with the commercial product team, and we'll be giving you also real-life examples of how the product changes are going to benefit you. Mike Gladness is also here with us today. Likewise, Mike plays an important role on the policy and registration system side with the development. It helps us make sure that we're providing quote training that is consistent with what you all need. You're going to see Michael here in a little while. He's going to give you a demonstration of the quote system and show you how easy that is. All right, so if you get going, if you do have any questions, we don't have the chat function open, but we do have the Q&A function going. So you should see the Q&A at the top there. Click on that, go ahead and submit your question. We will get to as many of those questions as we can at the end of the session as we go through this. So as you're thinking through the session, go ahead and put in there. We might not answer right away, but we'll get to those at the end. All right. We're going to start by looking at the comment has system efforts, really looking at the timelines, when things are happening, what's going to be coming down the road. We'll get into an overview of the product and the system updates, looking at what that means for all of you, what the goal like the field. We're going to do that quote demonstration where we go over Michael to go through that. Show you how the system is going to be. Tim mentioned that a little bit on the front end. Then we'll switch gears a little bit on the policy conversion. We'll talk about some these courses, and then we'll get into that Q&A of the session. So we really should have enough time to get to most, if not all, of your questions at the end of today's session. All right, so let's go ahead and jump into the session by reviewing the plan and the purpose of the effort today. So as you look at the screen, really the main thing here is that we're making product enhancements to reflect the more common needs of our commercial clients, which also includes adding coverages to our package solutions and removing some of those things that really weren't providing the value that our core clients need. Second thing there is we're providing a new policy administration system with enhancements to simplify and speed up the quote and application process. So as far as benefits for all of you, some of those tie directly to the plan and purpose of the effort, such as modernization of products, streamlined quoting, user experience, all those kind of things that Tim talked about at the beginning. But a couple more benefits also include really helping to diversify our agency books of business, as well as the implementation of a new commercial certificate system. And we'll get into that here in just a little bit. All right, so hopefully you've seen this screen. You've probably seen this. Maybe been a little while. The top 10 things to know during the roadshows that took place a little while back. We're not going to take the time to review each one of these, as we're going to cover most of it during the session today. But I see there's a lot of great topics on here. And I do want to kick it over to our SMEs for a quick second, just kind of get their input on maybe the one or two top takeaways that they think of when they look at this slide. So I'll start with you, Michael. If you're good to go, I'll go over to you and just kind of ask what your top one or two takeaways are from this slide for the reps.
Yeah, my favorite is that in-system help number 3, because it really does simplify, having able to find tips, tricks, guidance on what coverages are, all that being in the system really speeds things up. Then it reduces wait time, whether that's you looking it up somewhere else, or you trying to get underwriting to help, that's all going to go away once you have all that in-system help that can guide you through those coverages. And I love that new cert application coming just to, modify or modernize everything there, because we love certs back in the underwriting days.
Very good. Now I'll kick it over to you.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is focused on the BOP line of business. It's one of our major growing lines of business, and getting a little age on it, so needed a little bit of a refresh. Just kind of simplifying down the endorsement strategies and the coverages, and then also providing them on a broader scale across different lines of business, as well as just expanding the work comp line of business. For this session, we're expanding into an additional 4 new states, which is massive. We have been looking to try and get additional work comp available in states, and we took a big bite out of it after staying in it, mostly in Illinois for an extended period of time. Welcoming on 4 new states is massive, and then also providing that multi-state for those businesses that cross borders, both kind of things that have been on our radar to try and get in place, and with this new policy administration system providing us the ability to do so.
Fantastic. Yeah, we're going to dig into a lot of this to get through the session today. So again, if any of you have questions as we go through the session today, go ahead and put those into the Q&A section, and we'll get to those at the end. All right, so on this slide, you can see that the go live date for wave 3, which is all of you here, is January 12th. So this is really when the new system is going to go live, and then we begin to practice in it and then start writing that new business. So the earliest new business effective date is February 11th for all of wave 3. So it goes live on the 12th, effective date is February 11th. That means that after implementation, if a new commercial application is set to begin on the, with the new effective date of February 11th or later, you're going to quote in the new comment pass. Policy will be effective before February 11th. You're still going to quote in the current system. So you're automatically going to be directed to the proper quoting system, again, based on that effective date. Also, additionally, at the top right of the timeline, you're going to see that the legacy policies will begin to renew and convert in late April. We're going to discuss some of the conversion options and really what that's going to look like for all of your current clients later in today's session. As you can see at the bottom left of the timeline, you were enrolled in the pre-work training. Tim mentioned that earlier. If you haven't taken that training, we really want you to get into that as soon as possible. That pre-work training is really intended to give you, and really get you ready for today's session, and really the opportunity to ask those outstanding questions based on the training that you completed. So again, like Tim mentioned, please get to that training as soon as possible. Looking at some numbers earlier today, look like you guys are a little bit farther behind than some of the other waves so far. So please get to that as soon as you can. All right, so one thing else we want to mention on here at the end of that timeline, you can see that our next monthly Q&A session, and we're kind of in the middle there, is February 3rd. So attending these sessions are going to give you just an opportunity to stay in the loop with all the latest news, as well as get some of those tips and tricks, as well as give you some opportunities to ask some additional questions as you've been getting into the system. So keep February 3rd on your timeline as well. And finally, notice that we do have some plans to provide some sales and marketing support after our first policies begin to convert. So we'll get into a little bit more on that later today as well. All right, so product overview. So now that you've had an overview of the timeline and the training, take a quick look at the particulars as it relates to all the product changes. So then this initial release that we're referring to it as the release 1. The focus is really on 4 of our most common commercial products. We got business owner's policy, BOP, commercial auto policy, workers' comp, and commercial umbrella. So you're going to notice that most of the product updates affect the BOP. We do have a few updates that are coming to the commercial auto, and there's only one change that's happening to workers' comp. So we'll look at more of those in detail here just a little bit. Just point out though that our commercial umbrella policy isn't undergoing any product changes, again, which is why it was referenced as optional in the training. So much of the information that we're going to be covering in this session is really offered in additional detail in the pre-work. So again, really make sure you take the pre-work. Probably say that a couple more times, but again, as Tim mentioned earlier, it's going to be really important for everybody to complete that so that you're ready to move forward as these commercial systems roll out. All right, so let's take a few minutes now to review any of the highlights of the product changes that are coming with this release one. So we'll start by looking at the top. Really, the goal of these changes has been to really to simplify and enhance, enhance our products by restructuring our coverages so that those most common coverages will be applied automatically to our commercial pro clients. So just taking a quick look at those, some of our legacy products, some of those coverages will officially sunset and no longer be available with BOP enhancements. So those are going to include the gold and platinum endorsements, as well as the contractor's broadening endorsement. So with the BOP enhancements, there will be specific coverage packages tailored to those key micro business segments. Again, with the following coverages will automatically be applied during the quoting process. You're going to see those three new ones. Those 3 advantage packages are Contractors Advantage, Retail and Food Advantage, as well as our Professional Services Advantage. Again, the already existing business owner broadening endorsement will automatically be applied, and it has no changes to the coverage or the limits. Also, these packages will be applied more broadly than earlier in some of those earlier endorsements, but we will be more defined and streamlined according to our business type. Also, big point here, we are moving away from the Florida applications for our BOP, and we will be having our own proprietary forms and declarations. So you're going to notice an increase in several coverage limits as well as additional key employee insurance to each one of the Advantage packages. So there are some new coverage options available with BOP. Some of those are going to include the Contractors E&O for all states. We have Contractors Limited Pollution, increased care, custody, and control option for contractors only. And then we have professional liability, it's expanded class score eligibility option. Also, just quick note, you can see on the screen, you can see on the next couple here, that we have product details that are all addressed in the product updates guide. We have a link on the screen there. I'm just going to drop a link for you at the end to the resources. All right, so that was a lot of information. Now, I want to go over you. Just if you have any additional information, or maybe there's some additional opportunities for us to keep in mind.
Yeah, I think the main thing we want to focus on with the BOP updates is the streamlining process. We had over 28 endorsements for the BOP line of business, 15 gold, 14 platinum. That's a lot for everybody to know, learn, and to convey to clients. Well, we recognize that, and we also had a more hyper-specific approach. So if you wanted to do it, we had certain coverages for plumbers, certain coverages for electricians. We took a long, hard look at those and said, okay, well, rather than having it just apply to those specific classes, can we group that into a larger bundle and kind of say, okay, well, most contractors have similar exposures, and we can provide better coverages if we basically take down those gold endorsements and then just have a package for all contractors. Huge difference in just the different amounts of policies or different endorsements that we have in the strategy. It's also just a lot easier for everybody, for clients to understand, and for agents to be able to convey those coverages because they know what's going to be on the endorsement rather than, okay, is this a specific one or is it broadening based on the type of business? So really, really big things. Opening up those new additional optional coverages. Those are great. Contractors, something that we've been seeing as a hurdle, something where we're seeing more carriers making offerings for it. All these additional optionals are additional premium, but having them as an available things for our clients is a big step forward for us as well.
Very good. Good. All right, let's go on to the next one here. We're going to look at the Contractors Advantage package. As well as, it's really intended for our key micro business segments. We'll start with the Contractor Advantage one here. So, again, Contractor Advantage automatically applies to all the BOP contractor policies. It's not just for those plumbers, electricians, those cleaning businesses like Dan was just talking about. It really includes a stronger bundle of coverages that's even more tailored to the needs of those small contracting businesses, with an emphasis on coverages most pertinent to small contractors, such as the artisan contractor businesses. I also see that there are new coverages for contract damages and key employee insurance, but some coverages like the employee dishonesty are not going to be included. Finally, it builds in the tool and equipment schedule endorsement. The limits for tools and equipment will now be displayed within the Contractors Advantage. And again, like Bob and his quick looks, there's going to be a really good opportunity for you to get a preview of the coverages when you're pursuing these businesses. So With that, Deborah, let me get back to you. What else would you like to add from the Contractors Advantage?
Yeah, a lot of it is, if you're really looking for the details, go into those quick looks. Those are going to be the keys to the kingdom for you guys as far as this is what we're providing. There's just too much to go into in these sessions to get into the detail of it, but all of this will be provided. The contract damages coverages is huge. We've been seeing that from other carriers like Cincinnati, building that into their package for contractors, which put us at a disadvantage. We wanted to make sure that we have a very competitive product, and by revamping our endorsements to provide the coverages that our clients need, is going to make a big difference for us going forward in these segments that we really want to increase. So our core client personas, those contracting, retail, and food, these are all ones where we're looking to grow these types. We want to be able to provide the best product possible.
We're good. All right, let's go on to the next one. A little too far. Apologize. Going into the retail and food advantage. Obviously, as the name implies, it's for retail and food. It's going to automatically apply to all the BOP retail and food policies, especially those smaller retail shops and food-related businesses. Again, it's going to include a stronger bundle of coverages that's even more tailored to the needs of the retail and food businesses, with an emphasis on the coverages that are most important to that as well. It does include new coverages like key employee insurance, the ordinance law, equipment coverage, as well as the refrigeration breakdown expense for vehicles. Then finally, this package does replace the multiple gold endorsements that were listed in the earlier legacy section. And again, Retail and Food Advantage QuickBooks is another great resource for you as well. So quick hit on this one, but Denver, is there anything else you'd like to add or for the rest?
I think you hit most of it. It's just the simplification of it, getting rid of all of those restaurant classes and endorsements, making sure that everything receives the same unique or same treatment across there for those types of risks. Key employee insurance is something that we saw specifically in this space. It's not a new coverage per se. It was something that we offered on the CPP line of business for our winery classes. It was more vendors insurance. So when you have those key employees that are integral to that type of business, say you're a restaurant, you have a famous chef or something that works for you, and that person gets injured and is unable to work, providing additional funds for you to find a suitable replacement is just something that we think it would be a leverage for us to try and gain those types of risks that we want to grow.
We're good. All right. Should I get some clap in there? Shoot that. All right, so as we wrap up the BOP section with the country advantages, we'll look at the country professional advantage here. This package automatically applies to all BOP professional offices and service policies. So again, like the other ones, include a stronger bundle of coverages. It's going to be more tailored to the needs of those professional advantage service providers. People like photographers, beauty salons, barber shops, print shops, funeral homes, among others. It really includes key employee insurance as well as good coverage, and also the miscellaneous office and service risks that were previously ineligible for the risk-specific office and service forms will now receive the professional advantage. These are included, but again, are not limited to those laundry operations, dental laboratories, funeral homes, copying and duplicating stores, print shops, tailor making, or dress establishments. So, as with the other advantage packages, we have a quick looks resource for professional advantage coverages. It's going to be a great resource and refresh for all of you who are pursuing this line of business. Denver, I'll get back to you for any of those last minute tips for the reps.
One of the things for the professional, we did have an increase for our science coverage, because we know that a lot of these professional businesses do have science coverage. So we previously offered a $5,000 as built-in. That's increased to $15,000. Also, things like computer fraud were increased from $5K to $10K. So just some significant changes there. And then one other thing that I wanted to kind of highlight that I neglected to earlier was that basically as part of the BOP program, we are offering as part of the baseline coverages is $10,000 worth of data breach coverage. This is a coverage that we've offered for an extended period of time. Every business really has the exposure, but as an item where it's an additional premium charge, it was usually a lot of times the first thing to go. When we're seeing that, and we're seeing basically we know that there's an exposure, we know that people need this coverage, that was something that we felt was very important to build into all of our bot policies. So all of the bot policies will be receiving that $10,000 worth of data breach.
We're good. We're good. All right. Let's check gears here a little bit and look at the commercial auto. So going forward, commercial auto is only going to be issued as a monoline policy, will no longer be issued as a subline within a commercial package policy. So really, what does it mean? It means that all commercial auto clients will have a consistent experience in countries' internal reporting challenges. Hopefully, will be a little bit more mitigated. Clients will no longer need to navigate the entire declarations of commercial package policy to locate those driver lists or vehicle lists or insurance codes. There are some enhancements to the commercial auto. To kind of go through those real quickly, but we're going to be clarifying that the auto loan lease physical damage extension is applicable to private passenger autos and light trucks only. Rental reimbursement has been increased to a maximum limit of $1,500. Clarifying that the sign coverage is also intended for vehicle wraps. Also, the towing coverage has been increased to $150 for private passenger autos and light trucks. It increased to $225 for those medium trucks. And then the transportation expenses have been increased to a maximum limit of $1,500 with no change to the $50 maximum per day. And again, like the other ones, we do have the commercial auto section for product updates. It's going to have a link there at the end for you guys as well. So, Deborah, anything that you'd like to highlight from commercial auto?
Sure. One of the things that we wanted to kind of do with this new policy administration system was kind of relook at the coverages that we have. So we have our auto broadening endorsement, which is a very popular coverage. So we wanted to make sure that it still stacks up against other players in the industries. So we went out and we looked, and we actually looked and saw, hey, our product is still actually pretty comparable to what everybody else is offering in this space. But even though we know that with past few years of hyperinflation, those numbers are probably pretty low. We want to make sure that we maintain the coverages that our clients are going to need, and we wanted to kind of future-proof this endorsement so that we wouldn't have to get back in here and redo it since we were already in here tweaking everything. We wanted to make sure that we remain competitive. And so those increases for the rental, that's something that we've been hearing for quite some time. So hopefully that's going to alleviate any concerns there.
Good. Keep on moving. Are also going to be moving to a new rating model used by the industry that's going to be used to predict outcomes based on variables. Again, it's just age of driver, vehicle weight, geography, the required claims. The Highway Loss Data Institute collects and analyzes data based on vehicle insurance claims. So, for example, younger drivers, younger vehicles, people with more traffic of geographic areas, or a history of prior claims. Each of those are higher risk factors that's going to drive the cost of insurance and premium. So, obviously, keeping that in mind is going to give you an earlier indication of the risks associated with underwriting that specific commercial auto policy. So again, you can find more information about the new commercial auto rating model, as well as all the talking points out on Click to Know. Denver, anything you want to touch on the rating model?
This one's particularly important because I think a lot of times when we're going up against other carriers, we're looking at our rating model, which is basically it's a straight ISO model in our current iteration. So trying to overlay on top of that a more statistical based model with more variables is just going to allow for us to have more granular pricing and more accurately price our risk to the exposure that it is. Hopefully keeping us in a position where we can rate for the policies that need the rate without having to manually change anything. Basically just have the ability to make sure we get that price for risk.
Pretty good. All right, so let's go into workers' comp here a little bit. Obviously, we have a number of country reps have already been selling workers' comp in states like Arizona, Georgia, Illinois, Indiana, Minnesota, Missouri, Wisconsin, and obviously we've got great news today. Denver touched on a little bit earlier today. We're expanding workers' comp into 6 new states. So we're going to have Kansas, Colorado, Alaska, Iowa, Alabama, and Tennessee. So again, this expansion of workers' comp really offers all of you the opportunity to diversify your books of business and really align to the needs of our commercial clients. So let's take a quick look at what this will look like. So for week 3, we want to obviously welcome Alaska, Alabama, Iowa, and Tennessee to the states that are going to be selling workers' comp. This is going to be a new opportunity to grow the commercial space. So let's take a quick look at really the financial opportunity that we all have for providing workers' comp in your specific states. So in the far right column, you're going to see that the average workers' comp premium for our core commercial clients ranges anywhere from about $2,600 to a little over $5,700 in average annual premium per policy. So I was quoting workers' comp for your BOP and CPG prospects with employees. It's going to make a lot of sense, and really going to help you, better secure that relationship with the business. All right, so what businesses are going to write workers' comp? Obviously, we've talked about this in the past, but in general, our guidelines are for prospective businesses are going to include the following. So we've got the 3 years of workers' comp experience, 0 payroll. Those policies are not going to be eligible. Experience modification of 1.0 or less if applicable, and then the country must ensure the business for the farm going forward. So again, expanding into new states obviously increases the opportunity for all of you to cover more of your clients' needs. Having all those policies in one place, and with the implementation of a new commercial system, the country will be able to write multi-state policies for workers' compensation line. So really, this means that as we expand workers' comp into new states, it will not be necessary to have multiple auxiliary policies for our clients in those states. So again, improving the client experience as well as the country's competitive position. Also keep in mind that the agency commercial hub 2.0, the workers' comp state-specific information can be found in the individual state's guides, which can be accessed from the workers' compensation page. So again, be sure to review your state's guides for any of those specifics. Denver, from a workers' comp stand, anything that you want to touch on the reps?
I think a lot of it is just being able to satisfy our clients' needs. This is something where we know it's an exposure. It's something that we've had to go through brokerage. You had to go through different sources to try and make sure our clients have the coverages that they need. Being able to make these offerings is a great boon for agents. It's a great boon for our clients when they have their coverages with one carrier. That means less interaction for our audits, things of that nature. You can roll everything up into one rather than having to go into an audit with this carrier, an audit or a comp carrier. Being able to do that, and then also in those situations where we have multi-state policies, where they have those ancillary products, they would have to do audits for each one of the states. Now it's all going to be rolled up under one. Simplification, streamline, just make everything as easy as possible.
Perfect. All right, so as we said earlier, talking about commercial umbrella, there are no changes to commercial umbrella. It's been a little while since you've worked with commercial umbrella. We obviously suggest you review the commercial umbrella online training. Denver, from a commercial standpoint, commercial umbrella standpoint, is there anything else you want to maybe touch on for the reps?
Like you said, there's no significant changes to this. This is an offering that we've had for an extended period of time. We just want to reinforce that it is available for those clients that need it. We want to make sure that we are able to satisfy the needs of our clients in all capacities. So this is just another avenue to do that and to reinforce that relationship with that client.
Good. All right, so we're going to turn over to Mike Oswald here in just a second. He's going to briefly go through the county patent administration system, and then he's going to get into that quote demonstration. So, Michael, if you're ready, I kick it over to you and let you take control and show us the system.
Betty, I feel like you could do the demo. Patty,
I may be good, but
you're ready to go. Yes, hello. I will get your screen here and touch on some points, and I'll get to the fun part, which is that demo. So there we go. Everything's loaded in. So as we've kind of set before at the top of the meeting and throughout, this new system is designed to be the fact finder and a digital underwriting tool to make things easy and efficient for that quote. We want, if it's going to be rejected, we want to hit that rejection as early as possible with a message why, so that you don't sit there and do a ton of work just to then go nowhere. We want it to go straight through as often as possible for those risks that we can, so you don't have to wait for underwriting to get back to you. We want everything to look better for the client, for you, so it's easier to read, and we want all that system help that I said I'm really excited for to be in there so that you don't have to jump between screens or anything. To facilitate that, a lot of people might have their own fact finders or use a notepad, so their flow might not match the new systems. Play around with it, learn the flow of those questions, because you do want to, get a good rhythm. And we don't want you to have to repeat questions or go back and look other places. We want everything to get done the first time right there in front of you. With that, we do say, take it slow. If you make any mistakes that lead to a rejection, that's not to say something that can get fixed now. It's all, we're trusting it. So you want to make sure you're entering everything correctly as you go through, so that there isn't any false flags on there that we don't want to see happen. Let's let me just take over sharing and we'll go through that demo. That looks like everything can be seen. As we said, it's going to be Navigator. Should look familiar. And once you put the date, it will then trust you to go to the old version or the new one. That's all going to be trusting the system there. First, we'll get a prospect added to see how that goes. We'll do an event. There's the network. Today is the person, Felix the cat. I was reading about a famous cat named Felix, who is one of the first cats there is in like entertainment style films. Let me pull up my address I got here on my other screen. I'm embarrassed. I usually do like a movie character or something relevant to where I'm quoting, and I lived in Iowa City for years, and I could not think of one today. So we get Felix the cat instead. Got the address, and we'll have them add it. Right, go to add the product, just a commercial quote. We'll give you a couple of options after we select the effective date. Just do today, but in practice, if you did today, it wouldn't go forward with the new system. But I was being lazy. So we'll get that there. And then for that, you want to do a Bob, umbrella, etc. In this case, we'd be selecting Bob/commercial package policy. And the system would then determine based on what you enter if we're doing a Bob or commercial package. Today, we're going to do a barber. Nice and simple. So it should suggest to us a Bob. If it doesn't, we'll know we did something wrong potentially. So there we go. We see that business owner's commercial package policy. There's other ones there as well. We already see a little pop-up starting with an assistant that we'll look at a little bit later. Start that via quote. One sec loaded. Here's what I mentioned, please provide accurate information to ensure it's precise. We don't want anything to go wrong. You can see up here on the left, kind of tells you where you are at in the process, gives you a peek of the flow you're going to be going through. You have some direct links to commercial hub resources, click to know, and then in system, you'll see a bunch of these. If you hover over, that'll give you some insight into what we're looking for. All right, so we're going to say Iowa. Up here, we set barber. Let's do an individual. Cat cuts. Might have a different birthday there. Do the correct birthday. So that way it doesn't mess it up, but should be good. We'll say they're just start now. Just don't return insurance. They won't start today. Got that address saved right there for me, so I'll just reconfirm it. One thing we have here you can see is a nickname. So some people have multiple offices or locations. You can nickname main office, storage, or the contractor maybe has a storage unit they're using. Whatever would help you or the client remember which. So all know and expect. It's going to validate that address. It'll probably say we want the full zip code. If I have to guess. There we go. Now it's going to check on what building information we have. So in this address, it didn't pull it up. So you'd ask the customer, but then I say 1986. This little tip is great. If you're a tenant, only enter the business you occupy. A lot of barbers, salons, they don't occupy the whole thing. Maybe they have a stall, and there's 10 other people there. If they're just a one-man shop, so we'll say they occupy 500 of the square feet, and it's a frame. All the constructions have little tips on what they might be made out of, so you know what you're looking for, so you can help describe it to a customer. Get that building saved. If they have another building, you do it right there. If you need to fix something, you're like, what's the difference between a building and location? It tells you right there. Add additional location if a building has a different street address. And then the first one you add will be primary. You can change the primary by going in and editing it if they did add multiple. They don't do anything fancy. It's on the business side detail. So these questions will be tailored to the business. Obviously, in this case, the barber would be haircutting, etc. But you know, if the dentist did ask different questions. Say no employees, yes, we'll leave all this blank. And as we expected, we want to continue as a business owner policy. It's good to see it's working. Now it kind of expanded. Now that we know we're doing a business owner policy, it's like, okay, here's all the next steps to get to that payment plan, quote, finalized steps. It says include yourself, so we'll say one. Again, these questions are tailored to that business type. All right, now we're going to go to those coverages. We don't want to insure the building. If you did select yes, it will ask that percentage occupation to see if you're leasing or occupying it. We do want to insure that business personal property. Then once we get to the coverages, they'll be laid out the same each time. Required coverages are going to be first, then suggested, then additional. So if you have coverages that you like to suggest that are additional, that'll be at the end. You'll start with those required ones. Their clients, they're not getting any socials. Expand these, all of them. They'll give you coverage, tip, go through. There's those recommended ones, and they do want to just add on beauty barber, professional liability. It's gonna ask how many people. Fill that in. That gives you that little tip right there. All owners, employees, and contractors. And then additional, you can search through any of ones that are relevant. So we'll continue. Location coverages, goes policy, location, building. This a policy, now we're looking at location. Play around with those today. That's something that you can do in your training or your practice examples. Try adding coverages, take coverages off, see what they all look like. Business personal property, he doesn't have a ton yet, just $5 worth of scissors, shavers. Get my quote. You'll see the price right there at the top, annual payment plan, and then it will re-break down everything in a nice, easy to read, what's it costing, how does it all add up, per location, per building. You can edit things, you can print a copy for you or them, or you can move forward with those payment plans. Joel, pull back up the PowerPoint, and we'll look at what those quote proposals will look like. Stop sharing my screen.
Sure, my loads coming up here in just a second. So as it's coming up, see how quick and easy that really was. It took less than 10 minutes. I know.
Yeah, 6. I think I looked after I started. It was at 34. It's at 41, and that's me kind of going slow. Obviously, you have to ask these questions. I knew the answers because I've done this, but pretty quick and easy to get those worked up. And you can see those new quote proposal right there. That redesign, same view, top to bottom. We're all on our phones and tablets now, so the top to bottom really is how we're used to reading things and make that nice and easy for everyone to follow.
Good. Anything else, Michael?
No, I think that's it. I'll keep an eye out for questions.
Yeah, if you have any questions that you might have gone through the quote demonstration, go ahead and put those in the chat. We'll try to get those here in just a little bit. Michael, get some applause. Appreciate that. Great job taking us through demo. All right, so as we start to wrap up this section, let's take a quick moment to talk about the process of using our resources most effectively. So it's going to be really important that we stick to the system and use the built-in and digital resources to help the quoting experience work efficiently and effectively. So, of course, for any technical needs, if the system isn't functioning properly, obviously start by submitting a line ticket request. Then if the need arises afterwards, then you can contact the service desk. So for eligibility and product questions, start with your digital resources. If these resources don't answer your questions, you can reach out to the commercial underwriting team. But before doing that, note that you should have already begun the quoting process in the system by using the actual prospects quote with client's information, and then get to the point where the system runs the commercial and HAB scores before contacting underwriting. So again, remember that the system is your fact finder and digital underwriter. It's really designed to stop you early in the quoting process if the business is ineligible. Also, as considered that you really consider the need to reach out to underwriting, keep in mind commercial underwriters, a couple different things, but the commercial underwriters don't have access to the same quoting system that you're going to be using. So also underwriters will not have specific information regarding why a business you're quoting is determined to be ineligible. And also underwriters will not be able to override a system ineligibility. So remember those 3 key points before you decide to give them a call. Also, again, for all those reasons, we ask that you follow the process here first by using the digital resources and then beginning your actual quote in the system before contacting underwriting. A few of the things on our resource process for quoting and issuing or other system how-to questions. You can use the built-in digital resources. Then for any of those questions pertaining to existing policies, including accounts being actively worked by an underwriter, conversion questions, certificates of insurance, then you can reach out to the underwriting team. And then finally, for any questions around rate changes, again, first access your digital resources. If your answer isn't there, then you can reach out to your market manager. All right, before we move on, I do want to encourage all of you to be on the lookout for the opportunity to practice quoting a couple of our fictional BOP scenarios in the comment paths after it goes live. These practice scenarios will give you the opportunity to generate some fictional quotes before working with your real prospects and clients. So you can watch the notification and the links to those scenarios. Those are going to come around the same time that the system goes live, January 12th. But we're also going to be providing a link to those scenarios closer to the end of today's session. So again, just remember to use the comment paths when it goes live. Now, I want to kick over to you. I know we've had a lot more resources from an underwriting standpoint. Anything else you kind of want to touch on from a resource standpoint and a process standpoint?
Yeah, I think at least from the process standpoint, I can't reinforce enough how important it is to have the accurate and true information when you're entering things into the system. Not every policy is going to be touched by an underwriter. In the past, pretty much every policy that came in was touched by an underwriter. It could be, we could change things like inception date and change things as they came in. One thing to keep in mind on this new system is there's no guarantee of that. So the way that you have it entered when you hit that bind button is what it is. So just be prepared for it. Just make sure that everything that you have in there is as accurate and true as you can get. Use those resources. There's a lot of great stuff out there on the Commercial Agency Hub 2.0. A lot of work went out putting out those digital resources to try and give you what you'll need to be prepared for this conversion. We know it's going to be a challenge, but we're all prepared for it. So thanks, everybody.
All right. Well, let's talk about policy conversion. We'll take a quick moment to look at the time frame really that you're going to be looking at when you're looking at the conversion process. All right. So over the last several months, the commercial underwriters really taken on the bulk of the work to get commercial policies ready to convert to the new system. So these activities help simplify the transition process and really make for a largely automated conversion experience for all of you in agency. So again, this is because the underwriters were able to do much of the work on their own to minimize the rep actions. Underwriters were also able to reach out to reps as needed for assistance. This will work with the same as a typical write back situation through emails. Also, reps may also reach out to your clients, as needed to facilitate those underwriting questions. And on rare occasions, there might be that situation where the reps and the home office are going to need to work together to rewrite the policy, in the new system. But again, that should be very, very infrequent. Also keep in mind that the conversion process of existing legacy policies prior to their annual renewal will create opportunities for review of client policies and having those essential client conversations. All right, so let's take a quick closer look at the timing, really at this timeline and consider the conversion of our existing policies from the legacy commercial quotes to our new common pass system. So again, the first existing legacy policies to convert will be those in late April with a tentative renewal date then. There will be a period of about 100 days prior to the renewal where conversion activities begin as legacy policies start to appear in the common pass. So big note here is that these policies will still also appear in the legacy system until their annual renewal, after which they will only be available in the common pass. Also, keep in mind that the conversion information e-conferences will be coming up soon. I talked about those earlier. This will be a time to get more detailed information around the conversion effort and get tips for better ensuring that you have a good transition process for all of your legacy clients to the new system. Also, before we leave this slide, we touch on the servicing needs of our legacy policies during that transition. As existing legacy policies first appear in the common pass prior to their conversion and renewal, any servicing or changes will still start in the navigator as you. So the system will guide reps either to submit the change to underwriting as they normally would, or to make those changes in the common pass. Again, the system will use the policy's annual renewal date and the change effect date to lead all of you, in the right direction. There will be more information provided about the conversion process in the coming weeks as you're automatically be enrolled in the live session. And we'll focus on converting our legacy policies. So again, keep an eye out for that email. All right, so as we wrap up this short discussion on conversion, I also want to point out that we now have a new Click to Know article that addresses frequently asked questions related to the rollout and updates as well as conversion. So we're continually updating these frequently asked questions, as needed to make sure that we have easy to access answers, really for you to make sure that you can answer any questions you might need for the rollout and conversion process. All right, next up. So before we wrap up, let's just quickly discuss some next steps. As we move forward, obviously it's going to be important for all of you to complete the rollout training, familiarize yourself with product changes, and again, consider commercial joint work. We'll talk to your district leaders and look at some of those different joint work opportunities. Leverage your self-service resources, attend the upcoming conversion informational and monthly Q&A conferences, and then again, watch for the common pass communications that you're going to help. All right, so as we wrap up today's session, we'll just go quickly and review some of the resources that we have available for you. We will be dropping some of these resources into the Q&A as well. We did mention earlier that we will have marketing support for commercial efforts. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of those key examples. So we will have purchase leads guides that provide exit lists for commercial leads. We've got a brand new appetite guide. It's a great place to start as you start pursuing those commercial core clients. Country Brand Builder, I'm sure you're all familiar with that. It's really going to be your place for all the brochures, flyers, that are going to be able to customize and take along your prospects. You can build your local brand. We've got a new build your local brand for commercial. It's going to be a great place for you to start if you don't really know where to start. And then, as always, marketing at contractors.com is really where you can go to get in touch with all the experts, ready for the co-op or rep marketing questions, as well as other marketing information you might need to answer any of your questions. Okay. All right, so one of our main resources that we've already heard from Federal Agency Commercial Hub 2.0 site, it really has helpful information for states where the common has begun to implement. So states that haven't yet begun the rollout can continue to use the regional commercial hub SharePoint as noted here on the screen with all the links. And again, we will be providing this PowerPoint at the end of today's session, so you will have all those links as well. Again, depending on need, we might have resources that we've covered. We will drop all these in the chat here in just a little bit. If you have, have any questions on the resources, we will have. If you can see all the links that are provided in the PowerPoint, we'll be sure to drop them here shortly. All right, so before we get into the Q&A, before we finish up today's session, if you just want to take a quick moment, you can go ahead and take your phones out and scan that QR code and complete this survey. It takes about a minute. Michael's going to drop in the chat a link to the survey, so if you don't have a phone handy, you can go ahead